we tend to think about statistics in a sense very rarely, but we deal with a lot of issues where we rely on statistics as the basis of our thinking and our debates about them. So if I looked at a list of some of the topics that are current in agriculture in Australia, I could start with foreign ownership, foreign investment, the milk wars, greenhouse emissions from agriculture, the socio-economic impacts of the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, farm debt levels at the moment, food security, is Australia going to run out of food, and even Australia's performance in terms of supplying Asia and becoming the food bowl of Asia. Underlying all those are sets of statistics that people base their thinking on and base their views on. In theory, what we're talking about is a pretty dry topic, agricultural statistics and what they're like. Every single one of those issues relies on the availability of the sort of data that we're talking about being generated by the statistics system as the basis for that discussion. Today, the report associated with the project releasing today was aimed at having a good hard look at the agricultural statistics system in Australia and trying to determine whether it was actually serving its purpose and was really up to scratch. So how many farmers, how many farm businesses are there in Australia? Now you would think, and I guess that comes back to the title of our research, you would think that that would be a fairly basic piece of information that you should be able to get right. And yet that line there shows you a track of the numbers of farmers and farm businesses in Australia. And as you see, in 93-94, we suddenly grew 23% more farmers. It must have been a very good year. And in 2005, 4-5, we grew 19% more farmers. And this is how the ABS reports it. Now, obviously, we didn't grow 20 or 30,000 new farm businesses in those 2 years. In fact, what happened was the ABS, for various reasons, had to change the reference frame or the sampling frame or the population estimate that it used as part of its calculations. We came to the conclusion that the system is not adequate to meet the current or the future needs of its stakeholders and needs major reform to prevent a further decline in its utility. So I guess that was the outcome, if you like, of that comparison. I think one in particular, and this might raise a few eyebrows, was around the National Dryland Salinity Program going back into the 2000s. I think there was in fact a very poor statistical and objective information base underpinning that led to a very large expenditure program. And I think it's interesting how there's never been a revisitation of that and the outcomes of that, and whether in fact the supposed 15 million hectares of land that were going to disappear under the sea of salt have actually suffered that fate. So I think that was one where it's probably not directly related to the statistical system in a sense of part and parcel of the work of the ABS, etc., but it is related to the quality of information that informs policy decisions. I think the second one that's probably live at the moment is this issue of levels of farm debt. And speaking to some of the state agricultural agencies as late as last night, they are really struggling to come up with information that gives them definitive information about whether there is a farm debt crisis in particular regions or not. And they're very worried that responses will be made on the basis of noise rather than objective information. That's our report. It'll be interesting to see what happens next in terms of whether any action is taken to improve the system, or whether we continue to limp on and struggle with the information we have available at the moment. So, thank you.